everyone, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson here, aka Sheniqua Inspires, and I am delighted to be back with you for another 3-tip video. And I thank you all for your feedback and your comments and your questions and all of that good stuff. And so it has me doing this media series. So as the CEO and owner of Stronger Through Faith Media, where we help you with your book publishing, we also do book coaching, and we do podcasts. We help you create your own podcast. So in that media realm, we are helping you to get your message to millions. And I am delighted to be with you here today for this video series. And we're going to continue the conversation about book writing and marketing and all of that good stuff that goes along with it. So today's message, we are going to talk about 3 tips to help you to determine if self-publishing is right for you. So once upon a time, when you wanted to become an author, when you had a book in your belly, you would type up your manuscript. You know, back in the day, they used to have the typewriter, and you would type up your manuscript. And then what you would have to do is get it photocopied, and then you were on the hunt. So you would be mailing this manuscript, you would be walking this manuscript into book publishing companies, and they had the autonomy to be able to say yay or nay. Now, I don't know about you all, but I'm a believer in the Most High God, and my daddy says that the answer is yay and amen. So I don't know where this nay come from. I don't live that nay life. So I just always thought that writing a book wasn't a part of my journey, because I'm not going to be writing my heart and my soul for you to say, well, it's missing this, it's not right, it's this, that, and the other. Lo and behold, thanks be unto God, many years later, the concept of self-publishing came about. Now, I don't know the real backstory behind it, but this is my take on it. So now the self-publishing has developed. So what it does is it says that you now, as a writer, you get to have the control to publish your own product. So you no longer have to go through the big publishing houses to publish your book. So when I wrote my first book in 2015, I didn't know my own strength, how my faith moved my mountains, I worked with a publishing company. However, from my experience, and it wasn't a bad experience at all, but it was an experience nonetheless. From that experience, the Lord began to download more books in my belly. And I remember being on the phone one day with one of my sister friends, and she said to me, well, you can do it on your own, right? And I was like, whoa, wait a sec. I'm a registered nurse by profession, in case you didn't get that memo. But you know what? She was a nurse too. So nurses are a whole lot more than pill pushers, okay? We do just a little bit more. But I was not confident. I said, I'm a registered nurse by profession. I didn't go to business school. I didn't go to writing, academy or anything like that. How could I self-publish my own book? So she gave me some tips. And I went and I researched the strategy, right? Because there is a difference between tips and strategies. And I was able to learn how to do it. And my first book that I published was actually a journal that coincides with the book, I Didn't Know My Own Strength, How My Faith Moved My Mountains. That was my test run. So I was able to create this journal, and that journal sells. Let me tell you, when I be out here at my speaking events and I have my little table set up afterwards, baby, the people be grabbing that journal. And a lot of times they grab the journal without the book. And I'm like, no. The book tells you the backstory, gives you the meat. You can't just I mean, well, I guess you can just skip to dessert, but it's good to get the full meal and then the dessert. I think you enjoy the dessert much more when you get the fullness of it. So I'm like, y'all got to get this book too and the journal, but it sells. So I'm grateful for my marketing strategies that I know, my marketing tips, and I gave y'all some marketing tips in the last video, so make certain you check that one out. But it's a good look to be able to produce something on your own. So this video is to give you 3 tips to help you determine if that is the way you want to go. Not everybody wants to go in that route. Not everybody knows how. And because of the impact, we talked about what was the impact your book is destined to make. Some people are like, we just got to fast forward this up. I don't have time to work on my learning curve. I need to get this impact. I need to get this message out to the masses. So it depends. So this video will hopefully give you some answers to some of the questions you might have in your head but have yet to ask. So this video, we're giving you 3 tips on how to determine if self-publishing is right for you. So tip number 1, let me drink my water because you know your girl is still on a water challenge. We cranking out a lot more videos. We're gonna need more water. Water, somebody give me some water. But let's go. Let me give you these here tips. The first one, self-publishing may be right for you based off of how much control you want. So tip number 1 is to evaluate your control preferences. So with my company, Stronger Through Faith Media, we do book publishing. We do book publishing. So you bring us your manuscript and we will take care of the publishing for you. However, this video is talking about, would it be better for you to self-publish yourself? So you need to evaluate how much control you have. Now, if you come to Stronger Through Faith Media with your manuscript, you still own your manuscript. I do not own your manuscript. Those are your words. That's your stuff. You're going to own your own stuff. However, certain companies, book publishing companies, especially the major houses, sometimes they may own your rights. So it depends on how much control you want to have. So I am a self-publishing company, but I am doing the legwork for individuals who don't have time to figure this thing out. Now, one of the things that I have added to my Stronger Through Faith Media repertoire is that I also teach people how to self-publish themselves. So a lot of times I tell people, depending on your time, you may just want to let me do your first book, your second book, whatever. So that way it depends on your time. But if you got time to learn, it's like you're investing your time, your effort, your energy to go to school. You go to college, you take higher learning, you get into certification programs, you invest in that learning. It's the same thing. So you get to decide. And one of the tips that I'm giving you to help you to decide is to evaluate how much control you want to maintain, that you feel that you need with your project. As far as the decision making, as far as the creative control, a lot of the publishing houses will tell you to take stuff out of your book. No. You need to put more of this in. You need to take that out. And that is the reason why a lot of people were steering away from the big publishing houses, because it's like, you're not going to tell me how to make this your impact. I need to tell my story. I need to tell all of this torrid stuff that I went through. Somebody needs to hear this. And sometimes the publishing houses are like, no, we don't need all of that, right? Because it's based off of what they're looking for. That's how they got a chance to say yay or nay. But again, the Most High says, yay and amen. So if that's the way you feel as well, maybe self-publishing might be right for you based off of the control. Another thing that you should consider. Now, again, we're talking control. We're like Janet Jackson. Control. Okay, no, stop. We are going to stop that. But maybe it's about control. And when it comes to control, the second tip, you need to also be considerate of what your budget and your time commitment is. So if you want to be in control, if you want the ultimate control of everything, then you also need to look at how much time, effort, and energy do I have to invest in this? Because you're the one that's going to be finding the team. You're the one that's going to need the editor. You're going to need all of the other team to put together this project, and you do need a team. Even as a self-publisher, I have a team. You doing it yourself, if you're new to the game, you may or may not have a team. You might, depending on, who you be with, but sometimes you have to just make that decision. Because of the amount of control I wish to have, do I have the budget and the time commitment to support it? Okay? So tip number 1, so again, we're giving you 3 tips to help you to decide whether or not self-publishing might be right for you. The first tip was you need to evaluate your control preferences. Control. I just had to do that. Number 2, consider your budget and your time commitment, because now you're the boss. You got to pay the people. You got to make sure the people know what they're doing. You got all of this. So it's like, do you want to be the CEO? Everybody thinks they want to be the CEO when they're the worker. But don't everybody want the CEO seat? That's a hefty position. You think you can do it so much better. So then why aren't you starting the company? Why are you not running the company? But when you're sitting in the employee seat, you think you can do it best. And maybe sometimes you can do it best. But guess what? It's going to take the money. You're going to have to put up the money. Right? As the worker, you do the work and then you get compensated. As the CEO, sometimes the CEOs don't even take a salary. So you got to determine how much control you want to be in, and if you have the time, the effort, and the energy to support that decision. One of the reasons why a lot of people come to me to publish their books with Stronger Through Faith Media is because I just want to focus on writing. I don't want to be the CEO. I don't want to be the manager even. I just want to write. I want to operate in my gift, my calling. I want to get these messages out to the world. Maybe it's something that I can grow to do. Like I said, when I published my first book, I went through a company. But then I decided, you know what? I think because there's so much in my belly, I think it might be wise for me to make the decision early on in my writing journey to become a self-publisher so that I could crank out my books with speed. Hence how I ended up with 15 to date. There's people that have more. So, don't be so, don't get so easily impressed. There are people that have much, much more. And yes, when you have a lot of books under your belt, you be getting your titles all jacked up. So forgive me if I start scrambling around my title. There's a lot of titles floating around in my head. But I decided early on that I wanted to take on more control. And I did have the budget and the time to learn. Even as a registered nurse, I was willing to commit to learning this process. Then, because I learned it, I am able now to help other people. So a lot of my clients, my brother, my best friend, some more of my sister, I work with a lot of people that I know. Why? Because they know, like, and trust me. And they're like, just let Sheniqua do it. Sheniqua's got the team. She's got the time. She's got the energy. Let her do it. I ain't got time to learn this stuff. I just want to write. So the tip here is to consider what it is that you want to do. All right, so we did our recap because, college professor and me, we got to do our recap. So make sure you evaluate your control preference. Number 2, consider your time commitment and your budget. And now number 3, what kind of skills you got? Are you a good networker? That's what sometimes a lot of my clients, I teach them that. I teach them about getting out and networking with other people. But maybe that's your thing. Maybe where you work, you get connected with a lot of people. So that might be an easy sell. You can just circle back to the people that you work with, your clients that you've serviced. So you want to know what your skill sets are. Do you have networking skills? Do you have marketing skills? Now, I gave you the tips. I didn't give you the skills. There's a difference, right? There's a difference. But how good are you at that? Because when you are creating a self-publishing business, are you going to be able to tell people about it? Funny story, then I'm going to let you guys go. When I started my publishing, at first it was called Stronger Through Faith Publishing. That was the first name for it. But then we evolved and we became Stronger Through Faith Media when I started doing more than just the publishing. So there's a lot more that goes under the umbrella. But I remember when I first started Stronger Through Faith Media and I published my first project, which was the I Didn't Know My Own Strength journal. And I remember one day the Lord had me message one of my high school friends. We had known each other, no, not high school. We went to elementary school together. We had known each other in elementary school, but we had reconnected later in life because she lived in an apartment complex where my brother lived. So we got reconnected in our adult life after having known each other in elementary school, but we had lost contact with each other. So now we're on social media and more time has elapsed since we were, friendly, familiar, seeing each other around the neighborhood kind of a thing. More time had elapsed. But I did have her on my Facebook page. And one day the Lord just had me to inbox her. Now I know her, so this wasn't like a strange person inboxing, one of those kind of how you doing messages. It wasn't nothing like that. But I simply inboxed her what the Lord told me to say. And I said, hey, how's your book project coming along? And she messaged me back. She was like, hold up. Let's not act like we just spoke to each other yesterday. How do you know I'm working on a book project? And I was like, I didn't. The Lord just had me to ask you how it was going. And she was like, OMG. She was like, I am writing a project and, it's going good, but I just don't know what to do next. And I simply said, well, I started a publishing company. I might be able to help you. And she was like, please help me. Where do I send my money? Take my money, please. Right? True story. You could ask her today. True story. And it simply is about letting people know that you have this company. Because when I started, it was really word of mouth. But if you have the networking skills, if you have the marketing skills that you could get clients, you can tell people what it is that you're doing, you're a mover, a shaker, that you can make this happen, then maybe self-publishing is right for you. However, if you're like many of my clients and you're like, Sheniqua, I just want to be great at this one thing. I want to be an author. I got many books that I want to crank out. I need somebody to do it for me. Then there are self-publishing companies that are already established that can help support you, like Stronger Through Faith Media. And another part of the service that we do is that we help you. So if you say, well, you know what, Sheniqua, I love it that you guys are available to do the book. And I have a client now that I taught her how to self-publish. So she's got all of these books in her belly. She doesn't have to keep running back to me. She's invested in the course to take to make certain that she gets all of the strategies and the tips and all of this good information. And now she's able to fly solo with my support, of course. If she has questions, I'm always available to her. So This video hopefully answers some of the questions you got floating around in your head about whether or not self-publishing is right for you. If you've got any further questions, comments, positive feedbacks, don't add me to your mailing list or anything like that, you can send me an email. My personal email address is drsheniqua@gmail.com. That's drsheniqua@gmail.com. So y'all go forward, be great. I got to finish drinking up my water because you know your girl is on a water challenge. And if it means I got to interrupt my, my video to drink my water, then so be it. So cheers to drinking your water. All right, you guys, you be blessed. I will see you on the next video series. And do not forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and do all those great things so that we can keep these messages getting to the people who need it the most. Until next time, you all be blessed. Hi everyone, Dr. Sheniqua Johnson here, aka Sheniqua Inspires. I warmly extend an invitation to each of you to explore my website, sheniquainspires.com. Here, you can discover a wealth of inspiration through my books, or whether you're seeking to unlock your peak potential with my personalized accountability coaching, or searching for an inspirational speaker for your next event. I'm here to assist you. Let's connect and discuss how we can work together to achieve your goals. Goodbye for now.